Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting. I've got a waterfall card. I've been wanting to make one of these for ages, and I put this up on my Instagram page yesterday, and at about midnight I got a message from my daughter saying, "Oh my goodness, Mum, that's blowing my mind. How the heck does that work?" It's actually really straightforward, and just hands up to the person who designed this. I don't know who did the original design. There are waterfall cards all over Pinterest and all over YouTube, all over Facebook. They're nothing new, but what you can do with them, with the design of them, the possibilities are just completely endless. So I thought this would be an ideal opportunity to show off some new products that we've got coming at the beginning of June. We've got a new catalogue launching at the beginning of June, and I thought I would use some of the new papers. So for this one, I've used the Forever Greenery paper, which is lovely. I love this green, and I've matched that with some shaded spruce cardstock, and then we've got this braided trim here as well. And I've used the Forever Fern brand new stamp set that's coming out, Forever Fern stamp on here, and I've stamped that in garden green, so it's not quite an exact match, but I don't mind. It doesn't bother me that it doesn't match. I'm absolutely, that doesn't bother me at all. It's whatever. I would just want to change the design of this. I think this is a bit too wobbly here. I think this band needs to be further down. I've taken inspiration from a YouTuber. I don't know her name, but her YouTube channel is called Dreaming About Rubber Stamps. And that's the design. I took the measurements and everything. She held this together with Brad's, and maybe mine wouldn't move about so much. I don't actually think it would make any difference. I think it needs to be anchored down more here. But, everybody's different. I've seen some amazing designs with this where people have put cupcakes on these, they've put balloons on them. They're just lovely. It's just a case of following a set of rules. There are certain things that you've got to remember when putting this together. So without further ado, I'm going to lift my camera up a bit because I keep seeing that I go out of shot. So this is what we're going to come up with, and I'm going to try and do something a little bit different, showing you some of the new products. So you start off with a piece of cardstock. I'm showing off some of the new Incolours that are coming out, and this is called Cinnamon Cider, and I wanted to push myself to use this card first up because I don't think it's a colour that I would necessarily instinctively go straight to. I'm not a brown sort of person, but I thought, no, I'm going to do this because I'm going to be using some of the DSP from the A Flower for Every Season. And I'm just going to show you a bit of that because it is stunning. So, so pretty. Let me just get to it just a second. Here we go. So this is A Flower for Every Season DSP. It comes in 6x6. It shows off all of the new Incolours. It's very floral. There's no getting away from that. It's very floral. And you get towards the end here, you've got really beautiful candy colours. And then here you've got some more subtle colours. And on the back, these are great for backgrounds, I think, but some more florals in there. It's a little bit less in your face designs. But that's all of the new Incolours. So Just Jade, Bumblebee, that's the yellow. We've got their Magenta Madness and some more Just Jade in there as well. And where's the one I'm looking for? That is Misty Moonlight. They're beautiful colours. I really love the Incolours this year. Really love them. There's not one that I don't like. Even the brown. Just while we're here, because my last card had the Forever Greenery on it, I'm just going to get that out for you to show you that. Just to show you how pretty that is. So that's on the last card that I made. If you love green, you'll love this. And if you love leaves, it's green and leaves. And there you've got your designs on the reverse. I really like that. Really, really like that. Right, let's put that to one side. So I start off with a piece of cardstock for my card base. And this measures 8¼ by 5 5/8. I've made it that size. I've cut this out of a piece of 12 by 12 just because I bought the Incolours in 12 by 12 cardstock. But you could do, if you did this with a piece of A4, you're just slicing it straight down the middle at 5 5/8 along the long side. That's slightly different if you, that's for UK A4. I know A4 is different in the US. But it is a case of a piece of A4 and chop it in half. And then I've scored down the long side at 4¼ So that is, I keep going out of shot, I feel like I'm off centre. So that's 8¼ that's 5 5/8, and I've scored down the 8¼ side at 4 1/8. And I'm just going to fold that, and I'm going to burnish that with my bone folder, just so that we've got a nice crisp finish. I need to keep an eye on this screen. I'm just out of shot all the time. It's because my camera's not high enough, but I'm not going to move it. Then I got a piece of Very Vanilla. You don't have to use Very Vanilla. I just think Very Vanilla goes nicely with that cinnamon cider. And I'm not going to put that on there yet because I'm going to put that on as I construct the rest of the card. That measures 5 3/4 by 4 inches, and it just gives us a nice border all the way around that. I'm going to put this card base to one side for the moment. Then I've got a piece of DSP from the Flower for Every Season suite, and I am going to stick that on there. Now on here I've got Bumblebee. I've got this very subtle, it almost looks pink, it's almost like a lighter version of the cinnamon cider, but I couldn't tell you without looking up at what it is, what that colour is in that daisy there. We've got some Just Jade as well, and I'm going to stick that on the back. I'm going to stick this onto the Very Vanilla just with some liquid glue. So today I'm crafting because today is the start of half term. I don't usually work Fridays, well, I don't teach on Fridays. And so Fridays gives me a time to sort out my admin, but I thought, oh, I'm so tired, I'm going to do some crafting. Last night I had a go at this Waterfall card, and I just got really lovely reactions from it on social media. So I thought, right, okay, I'll make one and I'll do a video tutorial. So there we go, stuck that on. Now there are a few bits of card now that we need to prepare. I'm going to put that to one side while that dries. You need a piece of, now I've gone for Just Jade. So even though this card base is cinnamon cider, I wanted to go, if I can pick it up, I wanted to go Just Jade on this. So this is what's going to pull the whole mechanism together. And rather than putting cinnamon cider on there, I wanted to put Just Jade. I could have, but no, I wanted to go with the Just Jade. Now I've got glue all over my fingers. So that measures 8 inches by 1½ inches. You then want, obviously you can do this in any colour scheme that you like, it will depend on what DSP you're using. I've got 4 squares in Just Jade, and these measure 1½ inches square. And then I've got 4 squares of Very Vanilla, and they measure 1 3/8 square. These are all inches, and all of the measurements are on my blog, and I will leave a link to the blog post that goes specifically to this project in the description box. Also in that blog post will be links to all of the products that I've used here. I can't link them all yet because all of the products aren't live yet, but if you're a demonstrator, they are, because you can pre-order. If you are not a demonstrator, then these will be available on the 3rd of June. There are details all over my blog. So let's put those to one side because I'm not using those at the moment. The other bits of cardstock that you'll need, and I've been doing some fancy things with these, and I'll show you in a second what I've been doing. It's all a bit fiddly. You don't have to do it. I've got a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock. This measures 4 1/8. It measures 4 inches by 3/4 inch. Just going to check. Yes. So 4 inches by 3/4 inch. And then I got the detail trio punch. So that has a corner rounder on it. And then it also has this little flourish here that you can punch out, and then this little oval. So with this one, I've rounded the corners. And let me show you how easy that is. Rounded the corners like that. Rounded them like that. Then I can put that in there. Just slot it through. Hasn't gone through properly. There we go, that's better. And that's how easily that comes out, and then we can do an oval. I can't get that in there, but let me just show you if I punch that. I've probably not put it in properly. You can get an oval like that as well. So it's whatever design that you want, really. So that's what I did with that. I rounded both corners. And then I just put that little flourish in opposite corners like that. So I did that, and then I got a piece of Just Jade. Now this measures 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches by 5/8 of an inch. And I rounded off both corners on that. And what happens is when you've got something that's this narrow, it will go up into a little point, and I think that's really cute. The next thing that I did, this is totally optional because this is something that could be a little bit stressful. We have the confetti border punch, and this is what this does. I get a piece of card to show you. So it's a piece of Just Jade. Oh, let's get a piece of Very Vanilla. I don't want to waste my Incolour. So you put it into the punch like that. Your flowers go everywhere. It's supposed to provide a border, but I like what gets punched out. Then I put some green in there. Punch that out as well, just the smaller circles. So what I ended up with was these. And all I'm going to do is off camera, because my eyesight's really poor and I need to get really close up to these, and I'm just going to stick those on there like that, and I'm going to stick them on here, but we'll come, you can't see that, I don't know what it is with my camera today. I'm going to put those on there, and that will form the band that holds all of this together. But I just wanted to make it a little bit prettier, and I wanted to show off some of the new products we've got. Right, I'm going to put that to one side. Let's deal with this. So this measures 1.5 inches by 8 inches, and we need to do some scoring. So out comes the paper trimmer, and you need to score this at, let's get my cutting blade out of the way. You're going to score this at 1.5, 2.25, 3 inches, and I know I'm wobbling the camera while I'm doing this, 3 inches and 3 3/4. Like that. And then these are just going to fold upwards like that. And this is the whole mechanism as to how it goes together. So what we've got is that. This pops out at the bottom. You want this nice and straight. So this ends higher than that. Does that make sense? Do you get what I'm trying to say there? Okay. Now we need to just start constructing. So now we're ready with this. Before we do that though, when I say now we need to start constructing, actually now we need to start stamping. Now the inks aren't available at the time that this video is going out. The inks aren't available. So I'm going to have to find something to stamp on here that's going to, I'm never going to match it because all of our colours are so unique. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it in black. I think I'm going to choose another green. I think that's the best I can do with that. Otherwise, it's all going to get a bit It's all not going to look right. So I've chosen this stamp set. This is existing at the moment. This is available to purchase. A link for this will be in my blog post. And I'm going to use some yellows and some greens, even though they won't match. I'm still going to use some yellows and some greens. I'm going to start off first with, get all my stamps out. This one, this says, "You will always be my friend." I'm going to get that on there, and I will stamp this. Oh, what am I going to stamp it in? Stamp it in green. And I'll put my green ink somewhere. There it is over there. So this is garden green. And then on one of these very vanilla squares, I'm going to stamp "You'll always be my friend." I actually got that straight first time. So I'm going to put that to one side. And then I want to pick another stamp. So I need to choose another stamp. And I've decided to use this flower stamp here and this heart. So let's just take that stamp off. Let's get this flower one, and I shall do this in green as well. I don't know what order I'm going to put these in. The sentiment will go right at the very bottom, so I want that the first thing for people to see. The last thing for the recipient to see. So again, this in green, and I'm just going to have that going diagonally across that square like that. I don't want this waterfall images to be too detailed because there's enough going on in the DSP. I think there'll just be too much to look at, too much going on. And I want a heart, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a yellow. Now if I had the inks I would be using Bumblebee. Instead I'm going to find another yellow. I've got here Mango Melody, but I'm wondering if this is going to be too orange. It looks yellow there on the pack. This might be too orange. I might have to ditch this and do something else. Oh, I don't know. I'm going with that. I'm going with that. And that heart will break up the green. And I think then, with that same colour, I'm then going to decorate that square. It's not perfect, but I don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm just stamping. It's just stamping. That's all it is. You can decide on your own design how you're going to put this together. This is a tutorial to show you how to put together a waterfall card. Oh, that's something falling on the floor. Right, so that's all the stamping we need to do. Now we're constructing. So you're going to get your pieces of green and stick your squares of Very Vanilla on there. So let's grab my glue. You don't have to use liquid glue. You can use tear and tape, snail, anything you like. For a job like this, you can't beat liquid glue because you've just got room to manoeuvre it before it sticks. It's got a few seconds. And this liquid glue sets quite quickly anyway. Whenever I'm doing projects, video tutorials, I never really get into too much bother with glue not being set in time. I don't know if you can hear that. It's really, really windy today. We've had some beautiful weather here in Mid Wales in the UK, but today it's still warm-ish, but the wind, and I put some washing out and I'm expecting to find it in next door's garden. Now we need to put these on our waterfall mechanism. So you need it like that. That's where you need it to be at the moment. Now, just before we do that, I'm just going to put some tear and tape on here. Let me show you where I'm putting that. So you're looking at that. You've got a square there. There's the back of that that's got no scores. There are your scores. On the back of this one, you need some tear and tape like that. And I will take the back of that off when I am ready to stick it onto my other pieces. So now decide what order you're going to have these in. So I've got a very simple design here. You can make this as complicated as you like. You can stamp whatever you like on here. It is entirely up to you. Okay, I've just got something simple here just for the sake of putting a design together. Now, that's the order I want them in. With this first one, this is where I went wrong on my original one, because I didn't check first the order in which I wanted to put them in. So the first one, the one that's on the bottom, the last one that's going to be seen, you glue all over that. You put it in that box, but ever so slightly underneath that score line. Just going to turn that over, but it does need to be just ever so slightly under, because what you want it to do is fold there. If you don't, it might not all fit together nicely and it won't flow. So with this one that's going to go here, you just want glue on that top section there, and really just like the top third at the most. That's not even a third, that's probably more like a quarter. That's going to go over there like that. Make sure that's all nice and straight and the lines are flush. And again, just under the score line, not on the score line. And you're only talking about a tad under. That's a specific measurement, you know, a tad. Just a little bit. I've smooshed my glue a little bit there, but that will clear dry. There we are, so we have that. That's what you have next. Get my glue on. Get the top of it on anyway. Put that to one side. Now we're back on this. And I'm just going to put together, without those diddy flowers, I'm just going to put this together. So, to be honest, I'm just eyeballing this, but you might want to measure it. And I'm going to put, you don't have to do this, I just wanted to decorate it a bit more. So I'm just going to glue this. I'm not using dimensionals with this, you'll see why in a minute. I just want to glue it flat. And put that on there in the middle. Just hold that down. You've got a little border all the way around it. A lot of this green bit is going to get covered up, but what comes out the outside, look, around the side of the band. And then we're going to pop that on there like that. So this is where we have to start putting it all together. So what will happen, this is going to fit underneath there, but I want that to be quite snug, and on my last one it wasn't. So decide where you're going to put everything. But this last square here, where you've put that tear and tape there, is going to sit there. So decide where you want everything. Just get that all in shot. Decide where you want it all. So the edge of that bottom square runs alongside that. So once you've decided where that goes, now we need to get all of this stuck down and just get it straight first. So the first thing we're going to do is get that bit of tear and tape off. I'm going to get that out of the way. And I'm going to put this in the middle, and I am eyeballing it. You will want to measure it. I'm being a little bit awkward here. And there we are. I just stuck that on there like that. And now we're not going to glue all of that down, otherwise our band won't move. But I do want to glue most of this bit down. So what I'm going to do is get some dimensionals, because it just gives it a little bit more room. No, actually, I'm not going to do dimensionals. I'm going to do liquid glue. Just because I need this to sit without this moving about too much. So you can see where your band is. And I'm just going to put some glue here. And here. Like that. And I'm using just as much on that as possible. And I'm going to put a little diddy bit there. Might get a little smoosh afterwards. And a little bit there. You're going to be careful on this bit. So I'm going to put the band down there like that. Turn it around. And now just put it into place carefully. So get that bottom bit first, even though that bit moves. And then I'm just going to push that down. And then once you're absolutely certain where it is, you sit and you hold it until it's stuck into place. That's gone just as I moved. I'm going to move quickly before this glue sets. So we've got that. So what will happen is once I've got my ribbon on there, that then pulls down like that. But you do need that to dry. You need that to dry. With those little flowers, which I've got over here, what I'm going to do is I will put them on off camera, but that is where I'm going to put them. I can't put them on camera. It will take too long and you'll have to end up seeing the top of my head while I try and put it into place. So I'm going to put those to one side. Like that. Just to put the ribbon on there now. So I'm going to pull that down, and I've got a little mini hole punch. So it's just a really tiny mini hole punch. Just eyeball that in the middle and make a hole. And then I'm going to use this ribbon. I do actually have some. There are the Incolours in the ribbon, and we could use some of the cinnamon cider. Just take a bit of that. And then what I'm going to do is put both ends through here. Got a little bit of a contrast now with those two colours. I'm now getting fingers and thumbs trying to get this project finished, aware that this video has been quite long. So I've pushed up the two ends through there, and then I'm going to push them back through that loop. And then very carefully bring those down, and it makes a nice tie. And then they're frayed slightly with all the to-ing and froing, so I'm just going to cut those off. Like that. Push that back up there. And then find my card base. And then I'm going to stick that onto my card base. And again, just with some wet glue. Like that, and get it onto your card base. There we go. I don't think that orange rather is too far away from that yellow. If we'd had the inks, that's what I would be doing. I would be putting that on there. So what I'm going to do now off camera, I'm just going to very quickly put those flowers on there. There we go, my flowers are on, but what they need is a little bit of bling. Let's just put that on there like that. I wonder if that's too, no, that's not too big. Yeah, that's fine for that. Put that one on there. And there you have it, finished card. Didn't quite get that in the half an hour, but there we go. There's your waterfall card. And that's what they end up with, that you'll always be my friend. Just push that back up again. And there we go. So that one I've glued it down slightly differently just so that this is a little bit more secure. The other one flapped about a bit. So you have it, a waterfall card. I hope you like it. I hope that inspires you to give it a go. Get everything cut out first, then stamp everything and then put it together. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and I'll be back again soon with another project. See you then. Bye bye.